Hi, welcome to the 12th House podcast. I'm Michelle, your co-host and the head witch in charge here at Holisticism. Delighted to have you. Welcome back to the squirrels who have been here before, to our new squirrels. Hi, how's it going? The 12th House podcast is a little corner of the internet where we bring together creativity, inspiration, intuition, spiritual shit, the metaphysical, the practical, tactical stuff that comes to running a business. And we bring it to you so that you can do your sacred work, so you can self-actualize, so you can be the biggest you could possibly be. It's really fun. You're going to like it, I think. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. Hi, I am so excited to be here. Welcome to the 12th House Plus, our little behind the scenes secret episodes. Not secret, they're the VIP episodes. They're where the really good stuff, magical, glorious things happen. I'm really excited about today's concept topic because it's near and dear to my heart, so much so that I forget that other people don't think like this. And whenever I get to teach a friend or a foe about this concept of archetypes, I love just seeing their face light up and start to understand it. I feel like it's the number one thing that helped me find joy in a lot of the stuff that felt like drudgery to me when it came to running my own business or just making things in general. And I have never experienced imposter syndrome since I started really using archetypes for myself. And listen, what I'm going to tell you isn't a new, I didn't invent this concept. It's an amalgamation of, I think, lots of spiritual teachings and beliefs and understandings and probably some, self-help and some therapy talk and maybe a little bit of delusion. But it's just so universally helpful. And I'm excited to jump into it. Before I do, should I just give you an update of what's up in Michelle world? Oh my God, I can't believe that I almost have a 1-year-old baby. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And I'm really feeling the fall season. We just moved over here in LA and I just feel so much is shifting and changing, and I've changed so much in the past 2 years especially. And what's really cool is a lot of the things that were monumental to me 5 years ago, or that were such an important part of my life 5 years ago, that maybe have or even 10 years ago, that have kind of been swept to the side for a little bit or been a little bit more muted in my life. I'm thinking spiritual practices, or even songs I was listening to, or ways that I was connecting to source, or ways that I was approaching my tarot. That's come back into play. And I think a lot of it has to do with this mediumship journey that I'm on, which is so interesting and has really gotten me excited again about spirituality and mysticism and magic. Not that it wasn't always exciting. It's just that, sometimes the mundanities of life, although there is magic in the mundane, they make you forget how the stuff is around us all the time. And sometimes your spiritual, or at least for me, I'll speak from the I. Sometimes my spiritual practice can really feel like a drag because I feel I need to be they're so consistent with them and using them all the time and just being really rigid about it. Or I feel I'm going through the motions. I'm really disconnected from the practice, but I'm supposed to do it every day, or it's supposed to be really good, or it worked for me in the past. So I just am kind of reveling for myself in this re-energized spirit that I have around my own sort of mystical, magical practices. And just seeing the ripple effect in my life has been really cool. And what I'm excited about and how it's affecting my work and all the things that I'm making, it's sick. It's cool. Magic is cool. Spirit is cool. Being a human being, having a spiritual experience is it's very legit. It's very cool. So that's what's going on over here. Am I still seeing ghosts? Yes. I am just so fascinated by this journey. And how sometimes you're going through something in your life. Oh my gosh, this beautiful bird just flew over my house. You're going through something in your life and maybe a breakup or a death, or you're pregnant, or you're falling in love, and you're in I don't know, you're having a dinner with someone and they're talking about something in that it just seems so just blasé to you or base. And you're how could we possibly be how can anyone focus on anything other than the fact that love exists, or my friend died. Like, how can anyone possibly continue, like, have a work day? Like, these little secret feelings or experiences that are singular to us that, like, take over our consciousness or all of our waking thoughts and are really exciting. And also it kind of makes everything else feel a little bit boring. I feel like that's where I'm at right now in my, like, mediumship journey myself of, like, wow, this is so cool. Why wouldn't I do this all day long? What do you mean I have to write an email? What do you mean I have to go grocery shopping? But I'm sure that the shine will wear off eventually, as it is wont to do. And I'll probably come back to being excited about other things like organizing the garage or writing a book about Notion or, you know, right now I'm really excited about these moon circles that my friend Leah and I are going to hold. You know, isn't that life? Just ebbing and flowing, the tides of excitement. It's just when you have a wave that comes in of excitement, it's really fun to surf it. Because it's not always like that, you know? You gotta have things to look forward to. So anyways, long and short of it, that's where I'm at. Oh, what else am I doing? I'm like deep into my own work and study around getting my financial therapist certification. Man, it's hard because there's a lot of, like, the way that people talk about finance sucks and is so boring and is actually, like, dampens my soul and my energy. And I feel like when I'm by myself doing my research and, like, thinking about money and finances and helping people with it, I get really, like, juiced up and lit up. But then as soon as I get into class with, like, an old white guy teacher, it's like, oh, it's disheartening. So, I don't know if you can relate. Maybe if you've gone through, like, traditional schooling for something like medicine or a therapeutic practice, like, it can be tough to make it through, especially if you have, like, disagreements with how it's conventionally practiced. And you know that when you finally get that certification or that diploma or, you know, graduate from your program, you're going to practice things differently. I think it's very hard to, like, keep your eye on the ball and remember not to get, like, bogged down in this is how everyone else does it, which, like, maybe brings us all the way back around to what I want to talk about today, which is using archetypes to get anything that you want. Really all the time we're playing and practicing with archetypes. For example, you know, there's an archetype of, at least for me, of a person who is a finance person. Like, I think finance pro, or I think accountant. I think of, like, someone who's sort of bookish and loves numbers and calculators and is probably, like, a very linear thinker, giving Virgo. You know, archetypes come up, whether we realize it or not, whether we, like, want to acknowledge it or not. And remember, an archetype and a stereotype are different things. Stereotypes tend to be negative connotations and also, like, untrue often, sort of like broad sweeping generalizations around a type of person that are incorrect or that are offensive. An archetype is not that. An archetype is sort of a universal figure. Think of it as sort of like the skeleton of a type of person. So, like, we know the archetype of a mother. That is a universal language. When you say mother here in California and you talk about being a mother in Greenland, there are going to be an array of similarities between when we use that word or when we, like, develop that character. Probably, like, nurturing, maternal, maybe feminine, maybe a little scary and fierce, maybe soft, maybe caretaking. You know, we can just, like, rattle off a list of commonalities that type of person, that archetype has. And what I really like about archetypes is that the more we get into them, the more we can develop them for ourselves, because there are infinite archetypes. So there's the mother, but we could open up that mother archetype to the gentle mother, to the distracted mother, to the working mother, to the stay-at-home mother. You know, those all have their own flavor, unique flavor and persona to them. So when I say archetype, I'm going to employ that language for both very broad archetypes, like mother or father or teacher, to very narrow specific archetypes. And as you use archetypes in your own practice, I'm going to encourage you to go as deep and as defined as you possibly can with the archetype that you want to embody or that you're going to use to help you to get what you want. So archetype embodiment is the way that we can get anything that we want. Like, it's the way that we use archetypes as this vehicle to unlock different aspects of ourselves, to unlock gifts, expertise, confidence, inspiration, cognition, new ways of seeing the world. Those are some of the many things that we basically inherit when we embody an archetype. Okay, that was a preview of the 12th House Plus content. Just a little sneaky snack. If you like that, if you want more, if you want to hear the whole story, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify Podcasts at the very top of the page where you would subscribe in general for the podcast. It's $5.99 a month, and we'd love to have you.